Hey guys, it's Acidic Doll. So, a little while ago, I teased these tiny little pixel drawings on my community post, and a bunch of you wanted to know how I make them. Now, before we start, Pixel Art Masters, please don't come for me. I know, I haven't graduated with Pixel Art PhD. I haven't unlocked the secret ancient pixel techniques. I simply taught myself how to make these little pixel gremlins in a way that made sense to my tiny gremlin brain. And honestly, if it works, it works. So, today I'm going to show you exactly how I make these little characters and even how I turn them into simple looping GIF animation afterwards. Oh, and stick around until the very end because I'll be giving you the actual project file for this little chibi. That way you can open it yourself, look through all the layers and see how I organized everything and even use it as a reference while making your own. Hopefully this tutorial inspires some of you to make your own little pixel gremlins. Alright, let's get started. First things first, what program should you use? Honestly, pretty much any drawing program should work, as long as it has a proper pixel brush. And this part is surprisingly important. Use a pixel eraser too. Trust me on this one. A normal eraser tends to soften or blur the pixels, while a pixel eraser keeps everything nice and crisp. I'll be using my trusty old paint tool site, but feel free to use whichever program you're most comfortable with. The goal isn't to copy my setup exactly, it's simply to have fun creating. Now here's something that surprises a lot of people. I actually don't start drawing with the pixel brush. Nope, I sketch everything normally first. I grab my favorite sketch brush, draw the character, and don't worry too much about making it perfect. At this stage, we just want a nice sketch to work from. Think of it as building the foundation before decorating the house. Now comes my favorite part, my secret trick. Once I'm happy with my sketch, I shrink the canvas resolution, usually something around 300 x 300 or 400 x 400. Sometimes even smaller if I'm feeling brave. Back in my DeviantArt days, I used to make little 50 x 50 pixel icons. How I managed that? I honestly have no idea. Apparently kid me had much better eyesight. Now, you might be wondering, why make the canvas smaller? Well, this is where the pixel brush finally starts doing its magic. If I use a pixel brush on a huge canvas, you can barely tell it's a pixel brush unless you zoom in about 500%. But once the resolution is lowered, everything naturally becomes chunkier. The image gets more pixelated, which is exactly what we want. Now, I can simply trace over my sketch using the pixel brush and get much cleaner pixel line art. Sometimes less detail actually makes the artwork look better. Oh, and later in the video, I'm going to show you probably my laziest animation trick. The one that makes it look like I spend way more time animating than I actually did. Honestly, it's probably my favorite shortcut. If you're planning on animating your character afterwards, this next tip will save you so much pain later. Separate everything: eyes, hair, mouth, face, body, arms, legs. Basically, it might seem like extra work now, but future you is going to send present you a thank you card. Because moving separate layers is infinitely easier than redrawing your whole character. Now, let's make this little chibi blink. The eyes are honestly one of my favorite parts because they're so simple to animate in pixel form. Yeah. For second frame, I simply duplicate the eyes, then I move the upper lashes slightly downward and the lower lashes slightly upward. That's literally it. If you want, you can also move the pupils down a tiny bit or leave them exactly where they are. Both work perfectly fine. Now, we've got our second iframe. For the third frame, you can slowly close the eyes or jump straight to fully closed eyes. I personally draw the closed eyes from scratch. Quick sketch, pixel line art, done. If you're feeling extra fancy, you can even make the eyes bounce when they open again. Just duplicate the original eyes and raise the upper eyelid slightly. It's such a tiny detail, but it makes the animation feel so much more alive. Now, remember that lazy shortcut I mentioned earlier? Here it is. I only make one complete base drawing. That's it. Then I duplicate it and move certain parts around. Hair, eyes, legs, head, maybe the mouth. Because everything is already separated into layers, I can reuse almost everything. Sometimes the only thing that changes is the blink or the mouth. Because you like open mouth, close mouth, whatever. Or a tiny little hair bounce. That's honestly enough to fool your brain into thinking there's a lot more animation happening than there actually is. It's simple, it's quick, and it works surprisingly well. Now remember when I said I'd have a little surprise for you? Well, since I like you guys, I'm including the project file for this little chibi. That way you can open it yourself, look through every layer, see how I organized everything, and even use it as a reference while making your own. Personally, I think taking artwork apart is one of the best ways to learn, so hopefully this makes the whole process a little easier. Once all of your frames are finished, save each one separately. I usually number mine 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Makes life much easier later. Then we head over to GIMP. Just like in my previous GIF tutorial, I open every frame as layers. Arrange them in the order I want. Sometimes I duplicate a few frames to make the animation loop more smoothly. Then we export it as a GIF. Make sure Loop Forever is enabled, one frame per layer. Then preview it. If it feels too fast or too slow, no worries, just go back and tweak the timing until you're happy. Animation is honestly a lot of trial and error. And there we go. That's pretty much how I make all of my little pixel drawings and animations. Like I said at the beginning, this probably isn't the professional way, but it's the method that made the most sense to me. And honestly, I think that's one of the coolest things about making art. There isn't always one correct way to create something. Sometimes your own weird little workflow ends up becoming your favorite one. If this tutorial helped you, or you end up making your own little pixel gremlin, I'd genuinely love to see it, and feel free to tag me or share it with me. And don't forget to grab the project file if you'd like to take a closer look at how everything is organized. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!